All right, and we are live. So today on Free Field Training, we're going to be talking about vehicle searches. And that's hot. Whether you're a police officer who's doing an investigation, you're a security guard who is searching an employee vehicle, or you're a guard working at the front gate of a facility and you're searching a vehicle because you're searching vehicles as a matter of routine coming through, or if you are a tow truck driver or some other ancillary person who's looking through a vehicle, searching a vehicle as an inventory search for liability reasons, we're going to be talking about some of the concerns and methodology in searching vehicles in some sort of official capacity. Before I get too far into it, this video is sponsored today by Safe Life Defense. Safe Life Defense is a long-standing supporter of the channel. They are sponsoring our content and have for a very long time, and I use their equipment every day at work. They have the most durable duty belt I've ever seen on the market. Their new leather finish duty belts are so durable, I bet you they're going to make it through someone's entire career. I use their duty belt and their flexible rifle plates every day at work, and you should too. There's going to be a link down in the description along with a 10% off coupon code. If you use those for Safe Life Defense, it supports the channel quite a bit, and it supports somebody who supports us. So thank you very much for checking that out. Today, talking about vehicle searches, we're going to go over the types of searches and the methodologies that we use for them, and some key points, including overlap and authority, when we talk about dealing with things inside of cars. So the overlap inside the car and then the authority by which we're doing the search. We're going to talk a little bit to start with about the physical methodology of doing vehicle searches. A vehicle gets searched and we want to make sure that we're not missing anything. So the three different types that I generally teach to people, and I'll tell you right up front, quadrant is my favorite, is the quadrant search, the half and half, and the zigzag or row search. Each of these are better for particular things in law enforcement. The quadrant search is basically we're taking whatever it is and we're running a line down the middle of it in our heads, and then a line the other way down the middle of it. And what we're doing is we're going to search the vehicle in quadrants. We do the same thing with searching people. We could start with the driver's side front, move to the passenger side front, then driver's side rear, passenger side rear. We could start at passenger side rear, then the driver's side front, driver's side rear, passenger side front, driver's side front, whichever methodology you use. But in the quadrant search, we're going to search this area of the car, then this area of the car, then this area of the car, then this area of the car. We do the same type of thing with people. We search this side of the person, then this side of the person, then this side of the person, this side of the person, or top and bottom, top and bottom. The key with picking one of these is to make sure that you're being consistent with it and that you're using the best one for the methodology for what you're doing at the time. So with vehicles, I like the quadrant because it gives us the most overlap, and that's our next key point, over the areas where things are most likely to be hidden in cars. So if we start at the driver's side front, what we're going to do is we're going to search the area of the dashboard, the seat, underneath the seat, the center console, and then the entire area of the back part of the seat, including the map case in the back and the entirety of the center console. You're then going to go around and look up. Everybody forgets to look up when doing vehicle searches. You're going to pull the visor down. Oftentimes there's little containers inside where you can open them up and they keep sunglasses or pens or things up above the visor. Sometimes there's visor panels where people used to put CDs up there. Now people put pens and things up there. And so you want to get from top to bottom the entire area and a little bit more, and that's overlap. And overlap is important with searching people as well. Then we're going to go over to the passenger side. We're going to do the exact same thing. So now we've overlapped through the center console. If there's one of those little boxes like Ford 500s used to have in the middle of the dashboard, you pop that open, you're going to search that area twice. You're going to search the center console twice. You're going to search the map pocket back areas twice, because you're going to do this side, then you're going to go to the back, and you're going to search that area, and searching this area is going to include the seat back. It's going to include the back of the center console area. Then it's going to include the center area of the car. And then you're going to search the passenger side seat, and it's going to include this back area and the seat back, and then back into the back of the seat of the car. Once we get the interior of it done, very often we have the authority to do underneath the hood or in the trunk. The most likely one is going to be in the trunk because that's the thing that we're going to most often have the authority to do. Although there are many circumstances where you're going into the hood, you might be going into the the gas tank receptacle. You might be going underneath the spare tire. You might even be going inside of lock containers, depending on what the authority it was that was given to you by either case law or by a warrant in order to search the car. You can even get these to the point where you can cut the vehicle open in particular circumstances, but I would make absolutely certain you're doing the right thing before you go destroying anybody's property trying to search a vehicle. That's circumstances normally where we have a warrant or pretty exigent circumstances we need to get inside. The other methodology other than the quadrant is the half and half. It's very similar. People either do the front half of the car first. They'll say, all right, we need to search the entirety of this car. We're searching for narcotics. We're going to start from the very front bumper, and we're going to do all the way to the middle of the car, this area where we're most likely to find things in the passenger compartment, between seats, inside the center column, inside shifters, inside mat pockets, things like that, underneath seats. And then we're going to then do from the back of the car to the front, so we get that overlap in the middle area of the car. Some people even say we're going to search this, we're going to search this, we're going to search this twice. We're going to search this, and then the center area of the car. We're going to search the trunk, and then we're going to search the center passenger compartment again, so that we get a double search on the area we're most likely to find things from the stop. And then there's the zigzag or rows. Now, we use zigzag or rows normally for field searches. We'll probably do a video about field searches in the future. I got to get a day shift in here where it's actually light out, where I can do a field search exercise with you guys. But a zigzag would be where you go down a column over, down a column over, down a column over, down a column, or go this way across some area that you're trying to search. I don't ever see people do that or say that they're doing that with searching people. I don't really often see people say they're doing that with cars, unless you're doing a very, very detailed search where you're disassembling the entire car, where you're going to want to do row searches. But that's unusual circumstances for most patrol level people. Our key points is overlap. If we're doing a row search, we're gonna search a row, and we're gonna do a little bit further than what our row is supposed to be, and then when we do the next row, we're gonna search that area and this area, and there's gonna be an overlap in each one. With quadrants, there's gonna be that overlap. We're gonna search the seat backs and the center console more than once. In fact, this little area in here, we're gonna end up searching it 4 times. If we're doing a half and half, we're searching the middle area of the car twice. It's overlap, and overlap helps us not miss anything. The same thing that I said doing quadrant searches on people. Where are people most likely to hide weapons? Just scroll around YouTube and go into EDC things or conceal carry things, and you'll see the most likely people are to conceal things is around their waist. And when we do a quadrant search of a person, we're getting that area once, twice, 4 times. The center area, people are most likely to crotch pistols or crotch weapons. We're searching that area 4 times when we do a quadrant search on a person. Authority is an important thing, and while I can't go into all of the little dynamics of what authority you're going to have in each particular circumstance, because that changes every day with case law, and I wouldn't want somebody seeing this video 5 years from now and then taking what I say as gospel, as according as the law is concerned. This is a primer on understanding the legal implications of doing a vehicle search. Your authority comes down to what your policy is, what the legal obligations that you have are, what case law says, and what the statute says in your particular state. And that's going to be different everywhere. It can also come down to just policy of, let's say, your state's attorney's office, your prosecutor's office in your state, and what they're going to allow you to do, and what they require for you to go get a warrant to do if you're going to bring the case to trial later on for the things that you found inside the car. Sorry, I have to caffeinate. 2 of the key things is where would I hide it and where will it fit? Now, one of these is a matter of, if we're going to do a detailed search of a car, where would I hide a thing? There's such a thing as a pat down on a car. I know I named this vehicle searches, but there is such a thing as a pat down on a car. If I've got somebody in there, they're furtively moving, they're reaching underneath the seat of the car, they're digging inside the center console, and I can go, oh, and look down inside. That's a pat down of a vehicle. I can open that center console. They slam the center console shut. I can open the center console, look inside, and make sure there's no weapon inside. That type of thing. Where I'm at right now, that's a legal thing that exists, is a pat down of a car for weapons, because we have a reason to think that there might be a weapon in a particular place in a car or in the general area of a person that we're investigating, and also for the general area of a person that we're arresting. So that is going to be a matter of where would I be able to hide a thing. If what we're saying is we're worrying about weapons, and this is less of a deal with car and more of a deal with people, but if what we're saying is we're worried about weapons, then why are we cutting open the fire extinguisher in the trunk? If we're saying we're worried about weapons, then why are we cutting open the top of the seat of the car? If we say we're worried about weapons, then why are we taking the retractor out of the back window of the car, the little like baby shield thing to keep the sun off the baby? Why are we looking in there if we're saying we're looking for weapons? So we have to keep that in mind. And then where will the particular thing fit? Now this comes in most often in the case of drug searches. If we're searching for something based upon probable cause, upon a vehicle exception, or upon a warrant, and the warrant says we can go anywhere in the car that XYZ thing could fit, where could that thing realistically fit? Now, if we're looking for people, there's an awful lot of case law on saying it's the area the size of a bread box. So here we go. We'll throw this in there. Here's a shield box, right? Get one that doesn't have stickers all over it. Here's a shield box, right? Like, what size of something could you fit a loaf of bread in? Yay big, right? That's what we're looking at. We're looking at something you could fit a loaf of bread in. Anything you could fit a loaf of bread in, that's big enough for there to be a person inside. So anything bigger than a bread box. So inside of a car, if we're looking for people, we have to look in the trunk. We have to look under seats. We have to look those places if we are looking for people. If there's an especially large glove compartment, we have to look. If something looks like it's been disassembled, you get a truck and you've got a bed liner that kind of pops in and out and it's sitting half up. Hey, we better look in there because a person could fit inside there. But the onus is on you to be able to properly articulate why you thought a person could fit in that space. If you're going to use the bread box argument, we can't be looking for the offender in an armed robbery. If we're just making sure there's no people in the car, then a baby could fit in a bread box. And so that argument's pretty valid, according to what we currently have in the courts today. So we're looking at item size. How big is this thing that we're looking for? We could fit this in a lot of places that we could not fit this. And we could fit both of these things in a lot of places that you couldn't fit a whole person. So we need to understand the item size. The locations inside the car. Are we going to be able to articulate why we need to go into the engine compartment without a warrant? Are we going to be able to articulate why there was some level of exigency to have to disassemble the engine before getting a warrant? And these are things where if you're not sure, if you're like, geez, should I be taking the air filter out? Should I be taking the plastic cover off the top of the engine? Should we be disassembling the reservoir for the washer fluid to find out if there's drugs at the bottom of it? If you don't know, get a supervisor or a detective involved. Oftentimes, detectives have to see the back end of these cases. They have to take these cases to court, to trial, and they're more in tune with what the state's attorney's office is looking for because they have to take things in on that back end. Get them involved, find out, hey, there's the circumstances that I have. Should we be getting a warrant before we go further into this? I'm pretty sure that there's something in here, but do I need to get a warrant to do this? And oftentimes what the state's attorneys will tell you if you ask them is, yeah, we'll just, we'll let you know if you're wasting our time. Give them a call, find out. At the very least, get your detectives involved. Locked versus unlocked containers. If you have a locked glove box, do you have the statutory authority? Do you have the legal authority given those circumstances? Can you articulate why you had to get that box open to search right there and not wait for a warrant? If you don't know, find out now because it's going to come up. Disassembly of the vehicle and then whether you have the authority to search the whole car. So we talked a little bit about disassembly and having to figure out whether that's going to be a thing before or after. I'll give you some areas very often that disassembling the car yields positive results. Tires, people will pop the beads of tires and put contraband in there. They will lock things in a glove box. They'll put things in the air filter. There's several cases that I've had where people put things in the air filter. And then there's some recent case law that's come from people searching an air filter. And the plastic cover on the top of the engine, although that's kind of a sketchy place given the heat to be storing things, people do put things there. And then down inside of the bumpers of cars, often you'll have things either glued, taped, or magnet mounted to the inside of the actual bumper. Not the plastic cover, but the actual steel bumper that sits behind the plastic bumper cover. People will stick things inside of there. So those are places to look. And then anywhere down inside where you could lose things in the engine compartment. The modern issue with having air dams at the bottom they're called aero panels at the bottom of a car, is that people hide a lot of things down in those aero panels if they're looking to hide them from the police, transport narcotics over state lines, things like that. You can take an advanced drug interdiction class and learn a lot of things about that. There's also classes on traps, how you find hidden compartments inside of cars. Amaretto creamers, good stuff. Once you have your vehicle searched as far as you think you're going to be able to go, given the circumstances of the case, now you have to document. Are you done? Nope. Document. You have to be able to know how to document these different things and why you did them. Different agencies are going to have different policies, but I will tell you that if you stop a car and you pull the people out and you search it and you do a report, your boss is probably never going to be angry at you about accomplishing a case report on that. Even if you have body cameras on, even if your department policy doesn't require it, I recommend do a case report anytime you're doing a search, especially of a vehicle. It just makes sense to do it unless there's already some paperwork involved. So if you're a tow truck driver or you're a cop who's having a vehicle towed and you're going to do an inventory search of the car, do your paperwork for the search. There's going to be a box on there where you can write down what you found. Inventory search revealed, blah, 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 blah. And I'll tell you one thing with inventory searches people don't often think about. Here's your little tip or trick of the day from field training. 18 years of law enforcement is when I teach new guys and I tell them to inventory search the car, they very rarely look under the seat. Where do people hide valuables in their car? Remember, an inventory search, we are trying to find if there's any valuables in the car so that they don't get stolen, and then we get blamed for it. To protect the people whose car we're towing and to protect the tow company from accusations of theft. Where do they keep things that are worth money to them? Where do they hide things? They hide them under the seats. Look under the seats, right? If they're captain's chairs or a big bench in the front that slides, look underneath the seat. You're not violating anybody's rights looking under the seat. And I have found laptops under seats. Back when we had iPods, I found iPods under seats. Phones are always under seats. You look under a seat, find 2 or 3 phones in some cars, and that's where people hide guns, is under seats. And I think anybody would agree that a gun is something that's valuable to several parties in any circumstance you're towing a car. It's a valuable thing for the tow truck driver to not find accidentally. It's a valuable thing for the occupant owner of the car, and you probably want to know if there's a gun in the car. It might become something interesting ancillary to your investigation that you find out if there's a gun in the car. So now I'm going to go to the live stream comments and questions on this video. I'd like to remind everybody that the sponsor today is Safe Life Defense, and Safe Life Defense sells to everybody. So if you've watched this entire video, to go down below and leave an angry comment about how this cop's a jerk and blah, 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 and sponsored by a company that doesn't sell they're just selling to cops. They sell to everybody, and that's one of the things I like about them. Coming on very close to the end of my law enforcement career, I can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel after 18 years. Companies that will sell things that are not restricted by law to anybody who wants to buy them for a lawful purpose is becoming more and more important to me. Again, the link and all that's down below. So I'm going to go to the comments and questions. Hopefully we get some topical comments and questions from people. Night shift, what's up? Just starting night shift here. It is coming up on 11 p.m. I'm actually starting off early. I'm going to be doing some editing tonight. I've got another video. If you follow me on Patreon, there's a link to the Patreon down below. I just did a video about vehicle armoring. And when I was at the place that does the vehicle armoring, they also had one about structural armoring with one-way bulletproof glass where we shoot the window and it will stop rounds going one way, and the other way it just works like normal automotive glass where you can fire one round, it makes a hole, and then you can punch straight through and fire back out toward the assailant, which is really cool technology. I'm going to be working on that tonight, editing some of those videos, and then I've got a couple other videos. I've got a new weapon light video that I'm working on. I've got a knife video coming out fairly shortly from ASP. Has some new stuff coming out on the market with knives, actually really nice knives, and I've got some more duty belt videos coming out with that Core Essentials duty belt that we looked at a little previously, the one that has click adjustable. I handed that off to a guy at work to do kind of a long-term review of that. So that's what we have coming up in the future. I'm going to be doing some editing here shortly. Miss Chips Ahoy 78 says, CRJ student here. It's nice to have you. Please share these around. I'm trying to do more and more of these purely educational videos on here. And now that we've got sponsors that are kind of on board with like, yeah, I want my name on this type of stuff, I'd like to do more and more of them. And I hope that helps people out. I know some of the older educational videos are kind of getting on in age, and I'd love to get back to more of this stuff. Chivos Adventures says, I remember one time I gave the cops permission to search my car and they completely tore it up. Ever since, never again have I ever given them permission to search my car. Well, here's the thing, is that's one of the automobile exceptions. If we ask for permission to search a vehicle and the person says yes, people are going to search, and then you haven't set limitations on how far they can search, right? So here's the thing, is I know that that type of thing happens, and that's part of the reason that I have this channel, is to try to encourage people to be a little more reasonable in their actions. If you ask someone if you could search their car and you don't already have cause, because I'll tell you that, like, oftentimes we'll ask somebody if we can search the car, and we already have cause, or we already have a warrant or whatever to search the car, but they want redundancy as far as legality is concerned. But if I ask someone to search their car because, hey, you know, this car, there was a description of a similar vehicle for an armed robbery, can I search your car and make sure there's no weapons in the car so we can just get out of here? And you pull them out of the car, it's probably best not to start cutting the seats apart and tearing door panels and stuff off, right? Like if that's what we've got is just consent to search based upon kind of more of just a suspicion than cause, maybe be a little nice in searching that vehicle. Zekro321 says, glad I made this. I'm in phase 2 of FTO. If you're in phase 2 of FTO, you should ask your FTO about this stuff. If you've got questions in your state in field training right now, one of the most important things, you're going from phase 1, where you're just learning how to look like a cop, to phase 2, where we're teaching you the basics of what to do. Between now and the end of phase 3, you have to sit down and discuss with your FTO in your state what the limitations are that the state's attorneys or prosecutors or whatever want in order to actually search a vehicle, to start tearing it apart, to start taking things apart on the vehicle and looking inside, cutting seats open, whether or not you need to do inventory searches, and this is a big one, the lock versus unlock containers in your state. What are your rules in your local area about breaking open locked or unlocked containers, or going and seizing the keys to that locked container and opening it up? These are things that are going to come up in your career when you don't have somebody sitting next to you who's going to know the answer off the top of their head. So use that resource now. Miss Chips Ahoy 78 says, thank you for getting into detail. We went over policies and search and seizure, etc. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. When you have questions, ask them. And if somebody tries to correct what you're doing with your search, even if you don't agree with it, right, you should listen and then go check. Check with a couple other people and make sure that what you're learning is the right thing, because this is a huge ball of civil liability here. That's been your free field training for today. While you're here, check out one of the other videos that we made, or down here, subscribe so you can see more. Or you could check out Patreon, where you can see how you can get your name put on the videos, like all these fine folks over here. I'll see you guys next time.